Well, the never-ending struggle continues. The struggle for cards that don't suck. Almost feels like, all those turns I wasted trying to resell the Sarmations. It's just patience. You just gotta be patient until you get where you're going. I just don't have a lot to spare. Okay, go with a big fusion right out of the gate. After all, it might as well make the enemy feel like it's hopeless, right? Mercury, why not? Okay, let's see what they do in response. I assume playing defense mode. I can't imagine any other options they have. Oh, sweet, we can bring out a second one. At the same power level. Be afraid. Be very afraid. The Dark Elves are dominating the field. There's one turtle gone. And boom. Half the life points off the board. Which means I can play basically anything next turn and still win. Sweet. I could write Geki, but that'd mess us up. Okay. After all, if I write Geki, it counts as a magic card. And I don't want to do that. I just want to win. Though that does make me think of how we're struggling to get to the W a little bit in Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion. As the Sarmatians, not in a major way, it's just trying to get to some of the last territories I need to hold to win as the Sarmatians. I need to take Aquina, which is held by the Rebels, but it's also next to the Vandals, and I really don't want to get involved in a war with them again. Admittedly, they're not that powerful since they've lost most of their horde strength and stuff, so it probably wouldn't be hard to take them. It's just the principle of the thing, like, I already am fighting, the Eastern Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire, might be getting into a fight with the Goths soon. Like, I just do not need, to be active on another front. Especially since I can't commit a lot of forces to it right now. I could maybe see if they're willing to take a peace deal. Though I don't know if they'd agree to it. I do have the most powerful military on the map, but I also don't have forces, like I said, really in the area to deal with them. We'll see. Gosh darn it. Gonna pay the price for that one. I should have just burned my hand. I knew it was garbage and I should have just burned it. That's gotta be another turtle. Gosh darn it. If I hadn't, messed up, we'd be closer to victory here. Gosh darn it, it was this darn 2100 defense turtle too. Ugh. Yeah, you can kiss the A ranking goodbye, probably. Well, I've used up too many turns for a good POW win. And we're gonna go through an effective attack, too. Which also hurts your ranking. Well, let's see. Doesn't really matter which order we do this in. Unless one of them had the advantage on it, and I don't think I had them set up to do that. Let's just get that finishing blow and move on to the next duel. But yeah, I'm kind of a bit nervous about that happening. It's not super likely, I don't think. I think the Vandals will probably largely leave me alone because they don't have a particularly good army, because most of it's just horde units they have left over for defense. So they've been kind of just standing around their city and defending it. The other problem is I have to go after Kotes, which is really far from where I settled. I mean, I started out, on the Black Sea, and then decided to horde, because the Sarmatians can do that in that game, so I basically picked up most of my citizens, then moved them over to Rome after sacking Constantinople and stuff like that along the way to get enough money to support where I was going to be, now staying. Admittedly, Rome is not the most valuable area, but it's an area where a lot of people want, and it's much more easily defended. Because, it's a narrow strip of land, But I've kind of expanded out in ways that make that a bit more moot, I suppose. Because I noticed that the Western Roman Empire had left the Iberian Peninsula mostly unguarded, so I swung into their underbelly and took that from them. You know, so I took some of the most valuable, you know, provinces they had left for my own empire. Which has to really sting. You know. And I took Salona, too, which also has to hurt, because it's a very valuable mining town. It's now in my hands. I'm sure the Western Roman Empire wants it back, but they can't really afford to fight me to get it, because they're too busy with the Saxons and Franks and Alemanni. You know, they're fighting, you know, 3 other factions, and the Goth are still hanging out in their territory. Potentially considering if they want to attack them or me. I noticed they attacked the Western Roman Empire at one point, but then they pulled back from it. So I don't know if they agreed to an alliance and a payment from the Western Roman Empire, or if they changed their mind and decided they wanted to sell in the Iberian Peninsula where I've taken root. Which makes me kind of nervous, because I really don't want to have to deal with the Gothic hordes. I mean, I could, you know, given enough time, but it's one of those things like, do I want to spend the resources on it? And the answer is no, I really don't. But I can't really ally with them either, because I ally with the Ostrogoths, which broke off from their rebelling provinces, or a rebelling province, and then got kicked out of its own home. So I got, you know, that to look forward to, too, at some point. Okay, we'll bring out a 2400 body and hope that's enough. But yeah. The Ostrogoths are floating around in the middle of Europe at this point. I'm honestly not sure what their plan is. The Goths make me far more nervous, though, because they're a lot more near my territories. And they're just, you know, wandering about. And that's always nerve-wracking, you know? Like, I got these massive armies, even if they're full of chod, because they are, you know, the horde armies you get are basically full of, you know, like, horse archers, which aren't bad because, you know, they can do a lot of maneuvering and avoid, you know, a lot of enemies and shoot them with arrows. But at the same time, you know, the imagery they get is just garbage, like slave spearmen and stuff like that, so it's counterbalanced pretty damn hard. And there's not much I can do to really dissuade the Goths from attacking me, potentially. I could try getting the cell down to get rid of some of their units, but I don't know if they would take it even if I offered it. Yeah, I guess I could offer it in exchange for payment. I mean, that would make a third of their horde armies disappear. And that is a plus side in and of itself, potentially, I suppose. But then I have to pick a territory I don't want. And I'm not sure what I would pick. I mean, I could get rid of the one territory the Western Roman Empire, I guess, is still holding, but I'm going to have to commit a lot of forces to try and take that at this point. They basically stuffed anything they had left in the Iberian Peninsula into that one town. And basically told me, you gotta come get it with a commitment. And I don't want to commit that many forces to taking it, to be honest. Because it's open to trade on the Pacific, which I don't have any trade partners with, because I have to basically have it come around the peninsula through the strait, or I'd have to, you know, start taking more territory in France, which I don't want. Because it's not going to help me get to my win condition. Like, it's like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I want to set up a winning board. I don't want to spend time, you know, on win more cards. Like, it's nice if I have more territory. I'm winning more, but I don't need to win more. I'm not going for global conquest. I just want to get to enough territories, the territories I need to win. That's it. Okay, we'll use this. I really didn't want to do that today, but apparently the game's going to force me. Hopefully we don't then get countered by, oh, she's going to play back row 2 now, huh? Cool. Well, you're not the only one that can play that game. Besides, I already know it's probably a garbage defense card. She's always playing like Invisible Wire, which only works up to monsters with 2,000 attacks, so as long as I play something stronger than that, it's fine. I mean, that's not hard. For me. But yeah, like, if I moved into France, it wouldn't help me get to my win condition. It'd just give me more territory I'd have to defend, and it'd put me at odds, you know, with multiple other empires that are trying to go there at this point. I really don't want to get involved with fighting my allies. I've gone as far into Central Europe as I want, and that's basically I've taken over Switzerland. You know, so I can see a little bit what's going on. And scratch my head over why the Saxons are bypassing easier to conquer areas for harder targets. Like, I get it somewhat, maybe, because you take some of the more defended bases, it'll be easier in the long run. Because they'll have less time to really build up support in those areas that are closer to your borders. But at the same time, you know, it's just like, why not grab the easy-to-grab spots first, you know? That way you can expand your tax base a bit faster. Because you know there's other people on the map that, you know, are going to potentially go for it. Especially the Alemanni, because they're down to, like, one territory as far as I can tell right now, basically. And they need some land. You know, because they can't hoard. If they lose their last territory, they're just gone. They're not like the Franks, you know, they get to bounce back from death. Okay, this is a terrible hand. Okay, we'll play this trap card. And try and waste a turn. And probably cost ourselves the rank, but I'm okay with that. Ooh, a fusion. Don't see that too often. We'll blow that up. Thank you, Widespread Ruin. And we'll play this on the Ill Witch. Bring her up to 2600. It's not great, but I can make it work. But yeah, the real trick's probably going to be getting to Kotez for me in the Sarmatian run. Because it's on the other side of the Black Sea. If I get to Constantinople, I'll finally have, you know, a province that's on the border with that, but there's also a lot of pirates running around. And the Sarmatians can't really build powerful boats. Like, their navy is a joke. Like, they can build boats of 60 men. And pirate crews get boats of 100. And most of the pirate crews right now are meant to be, like, examples of the decline of the Roman Empire. So they're, like, bands of 6 or 5 pirate ships. So a dinky, you know, crew of 60 is not going to do really anything to them. I'd have to basically build a 20 stack of boats, basically, which is really expensive to go around and sink all of them. And, you know, considering how hard it would be to see them on the map, since, you know, most of the ocean is just invisible dead space, it'd be a pain in the butt to track them down. So I really don't want to do that. I mean, if I take Constantinople, I guess I could build maybe a boat, throw an army into it, since Kotez, last I checked, was guarded by 1 unit. There might be some floating around, because it might be still independent, and they decided to move most of their forces out to be doing some more active patrolling. So I might have to send, you know, a decent group over there, unfortunately, to try and take it. It could also be in hands maybe of the Eastern Roman Empire or the Sassanids. I'm not entirely sure there. Of course, I also know the Huns are hanging around in that area somewhere. They went in to attack the Sassanids and then attack the Eastern Roman Empire, so they're hanging out in Turkey somewhere, last I knew. Which is a blessing and a curse, I suppose. On the bright side, it means, you know, they aren't anywhere near me, because the Huns start off with, like, the most powerful military in the game, because they get, like, 7 or 8 horde units. Not units, stacks. So, you know, they got this massive amount of men they can just throw around. Sure, they can't be, you know, replenished while they're still a horde, but to a certain extent it doesn't matter, because, you know, does it really matter, you know, ultimately if it's Chad, if you have enough of it? Like, oh, look, they've got, you know, 10,000 crappy troops. Like, I got 2,000 good troops. Like, yeah, but I'm outnumbered 5 to 1. Like, even with a good kill ratio, that's really gonna stretch your limits in that game, even on a medium difficulty setting. Because your men are gonna get tired unless you're playing arcade mode, so they're eventually just gonna get burned out and just get overwhelmed. I mean, even if you score some good hits. And if you lose too many of your men in battle, you know, you'll completely lose the army, so you won't even be able to just, you know, send it back to a city and refill it up if you have to. I mean, if they siege a city, I suppose you could try and lure them into the walls. I wish I could say I was joking about that, but the AI tends to be kind of really dumb when it comes to walls in that game. I've actually, you know, taken over the walls of a city, you know, and just gone around. They'll send men out to, you know, wait at some gate where I could potentially enter, and then just get shot to death by their own defensive system, because they won't try and retake them. Which is just mind-numbing to me. Like, you can just climb up there and take it. I'm not defending it, I moved elsewhere. They're like, no, we're just gonna stand here and get shot to death. Like, okay, fast forward, you know, just triple speed, because I don't have a time limit on the battle for the siege, so I'm in no rush. Like, I'll just let the wall take care of them. It might be cheap, but, you know, it's effective. So, like, someone was complaining recently about how I used a rather cheap method to grind my stats for Uzumaki Chronicles 2. And I'm like, it's an effective way to do it, give me that at least. I mean, playing the game, you know, lots of times, it's not particularly fun for me for that game. Because the combat is not particularly deep, nor is it particularly engaging. You know, it's a very, you know, boring beat-em-up to a certain extent. Like, you're either going to be so strong you can power your way through, or so weak you're going to get your butt handed to you. Rarely, you know, do you get a fight that goes, you know, either or. So it's a game that doesn't really reward skill so much as power more often than not. Which is why I'm okay with going to a survival mode while spamming infinite chakra. Which I've had people gripe about that too. They're like, you're removing all the challenge out of it. I'm like, yeah, but it's effective. It's like I could spend hours grinding up levels in Phantom Brave. Or I could use the cheat method, you know, of just creating a character that can explode and take out a high-level enemy. Because your explosion damage while being summoned in Phantom Brave is based on your a percentage of your own HP. So, you know, I can come in with, you know, like a 20% explosion for like maybe a couple hundred points of damage and just easily kill an enemy that, you know, that started out low levels that's been power leveled all the way up to 9,909 due to an effect. And gosh darn, we've been getting just mostly crap cards tonight. It's just like, I can do the slow grind and the slog, or I can just do, you know, an efficient jump up to high levels. Albeit the most important way to grind up characters in Phantom Brave requires using failure titles. It's weird. Because the failure title, you know, massively drops the stats of your weapon. So when you fuse other weapons on there, they'll actually raise its stats. You know, to above what their base was. So you can get crazy powerful if you know what you're doing with the system. Like, you'll have weapons that are way more deadly than your characters are. Which really makes it all the more shitty if they get stolen, because then all of a sudden you're screwed. And yeah, I know we're burning through a lot of cards, but that doesn't matter. As long as we end this duel, you know, in 3 turns. And let's face it, with this kind of power, we'll definitely do that. Okay. Finish you off. I still gotta do 3 more episodes after this. Darn. Ooh, I can drop 1 more equip, why not? Might as well play with all the equips. Though I have to admit, I don't know what I'll do if any of my opponents drop Ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon on their first turn. In the final 6, because that tends to be pretty common. Oh, great, it's a field spell card. Now, I guess I did get punished for using so many equips. I didn't think it was going to matter that much, but I guess it did. Darn it. Until next time, then. See ya.